The president of Costa Rica, Rodrigo Chavez, has signed the regulations to the Digital Nomad Law. So what does this mean for you? And is this Digital Nomad Visa worth considering for an extended stay in Costa Rica? In this video, I'm going to review the Digital Nomad Law and walk you through the process to apply for it. If you're new to the channel, my name is Roger Peterson. I was born in Costa Rica, and in my channel I discuss and provide information about living, retiring, or doing business in Costa Rica for expats. The Digital Nomad Law was originally passed about a year ago, but the lack of regulations to this law has prevented the implementation. It took a new president coming into office that is focused on attracting foreign investment, job creation, in order to revitalize the Costa Rican economy to get this done. And as a result, remote workers will now have a way to work in Costa Rica and a clear path forward on how to do so. So let's dive into the law and the regulations. Let's start off with who qualifies for the Nomad Visa. This visa is open to anybody who wants to work from Costa Rica and receives at least $3,000 per month from a foreign, non-Costa Rican source of revenue. So how do you prove that income? To do so, they are asking for copies of your bank statements for the previous year of your application, along with a sworn affidavit indicating that those bank statements were requested and obtained directly from your financial institution. Now, the regulations also provide an alternative, which is that the applicant can submit an income certification from a Costa Rica public accountant or a notary public or their equivalent counterparts in their country of origin. If they use the counterparts in their country of origin, they're going to require that those certifications be apostilled. I will leave a link in the description to my video on the apostille process, just in case you need it. However, the intention of this regulation was to simplify the process to avoid the apostille process. So go ahead and explore the alternatives that are provided in these regulations as your first option. The next question is, can you bring your family under this Nomad Visa category? And the answer is yes. The law is going to allow the applicant to include their spouse and dependent children. Now, each one would have to file an individual application as a dependent. Now, the only catch to this is that if you include your family in the application, the income requirement is going to jump from $3,000 per month to $4,000 per month as a requirement. Now that we have covered the income requirements for a Digital Nomad Visa, let's continue to review the regulations to provide you with all the other requirements that you're going to need to successfully complete this application. Number one, copy of the picture and signature page of your passport. Now, if you're applying from within Costa Rica, then provide also the entry stamp on your passport when you entered Costa Rica. 2, pay a $100 application fee. 3, you're going to need to translate all the documents you're using to support your application into Spanish by an official translator. Use the translators from the Costa Rican Ministry of Foreign Relations list. I'm going to put the link for you in the description. 4, if you're applying with dependents, then you're going to need to provide a marriage certificate for your spouse and the birth certificates for the children to demonstrate the family relationship. The final requirement that we need to address is the medical insurance. The Digital Nomad Visa is an extended stay visa, so it is not residency. The difference is that under the residency categories, the applicants are required to pay into the Costa Rican public healthcare system known as La Caja, and they will also have access to it once their residency is approved. Now, with the Nomad Visa, that is not the case. As such, the law requires the applicant to provide proof that they will have private medical insurance coverage during the duration of their visa. The minimum coverage required is going to be $50,000. Now, the insurance can be purchased from local Costa Rican insurance companies that offer it, or as an alternative, any other recognized international medical insurance coverage will satisfy the requirements as well. Okay, let's continue with the visa requirements. I'm going to include a link in the description to the official page of the Department of Immigration, which has all these requirements listed for you in English. Let's quickly recap based on that list. First, we've taken care of the medical coverage. We've taken care of the proof of income, and we've provided them with a copy of your passport. Next, we have to pay the $100 application fee to immigration and complete the Nomad Digital Visa application form. So now let's move on to the actual filing process. Immigration gives you two options. You can file the application using the digital platform called Trámite Ya, or you can do so in person at the Department of Immigration by requesting an appointment to file. First, you're going to have to create your account on the digital platform of Trámite Ya. So click on the section here that says Registro, that means registration, to create a new account. It's going to ask you if you want to do it with a digital signature card. If you don't have one, then go ahead and click No and follow the instructions. Now, as you can see here on the left-hand corner, the system is in Spanish and English. So click on the US flag and it'll convert everything in English for you. So just continue following the prompts until your account is all set up. Now you should be able to log in to the digital platform to start the application process. Okay, the first step that is required is completing the personal background information form called the Hoja de Filiación. So click on the box where it's translated here as filiation procedure, and that's going to start that process for you. Just go through each of these questions that are asked of you regarding your personal information. Once you complete the requested information, just keep advancing forward. And next, it's going to ask you to agree to the digital privacy consent form. You have no options, so agree and move forward. Now you're on the requirements page. So here, just upload your passport size photograph and the picture page of your passport. You can ignore the second part about the power of attorney and informed consent, since those are only required if you have somebody else completing the form for you. Once you've concluded the filing and the system confirms that it has been accepted, you will then be authorized to continue to file the visa application. After that, you can go back to the main page, and this time look for the immigration procedure section. Go to the section that says stays, which in Spanish is estancia, and here click on the Digital Nomad section. Then go ahead and click on the option for remote workers and service providers, and you can go ahead and start the procedure. Now, I recommend that before you start this process, be sure you have all the documents that we have discussed with you, because you're going to need to upload them to the platform. This is the application form that the Department of Immigration has available on their website. I'll include a link in the description for you. So let's go over it briefly. So here, enter your name as it appears in your passport. Select the box if you're an employee of a foreign company or a remote service provider. Next, they want the name of your employer or company. This is going to be the entity or person that is providing your source of income, the address for the employer, then enter the amount of monthly income. Remember, the minimum is $3,000 to qualify. And finally here, they just want a summary of the activities that you're going to be carrying out in Costa Rica. I will also include for you a link to the digital data privacy consent form, which is also required in order to use the digital platform. Now, if you prefer to do the filing in physical paper form, you can also do that at any of the regional centers of the Department of Immigration. To do so, you're just going to need to apply for an appointment through the appointment portal of immigration. I'm going to include a link in the description for you so that you can access the calendar for appointments. Now, this appointment portal is separate from the Trámite Ya portal that we have discussed before, so you're going to need to create a separate account here in order to apply for an appointment. This way, you or your legal representative, if you have one, can show up on the date of the appointment with all the original documents required to apply for this visa that we have discussed, and file them directly with the Department of Immigration. So the next question is, how long does the Digital Nomad Visa take? Well, let's look at the law. According to the law and the regulations, immigration has 5 calendar days to respond to your application, indicating if it requires additional documentation or corrections from you to correct any defects in your application. Once you get that notice, you have 8 days to amend your application. Now, once your application is formally accepted by immigration, it has 15 days to issue a final resolution to your application. So, is applying for this visa worth it? I think it is a good option for those of you that are still exploring if Costa Rica is going to be the right fit for you, and you're not ready yet to make a full commitment to the country. I think it's also a good option if you don't want to make border runs every 3 months to renew your tourist visa. Also, if you have private insurance and you don't want to pay into the mandatory public health care system in Costa Rica that is required with other residency categories, then that's also an option to do. Now, if after a while you decide you want to live permanently in Costa Rica, you can always switch from this category and apply for either the rentista, pensionado, or investor residency categories. Well, I hope this video does help you in your decision-making process. And as always, thank you for watching. If you have not subscribed, please do so, and I will continue to provide content about living, retiring, or working in Costa Rica that will make your transition to the country much easier.